Good morning, YouTube Live. How's it going, everybody? Mm, Sorry if I look still like I'm sleepyhead because I am. I'm really exhausted. Oh my god. Just woke up. Just watched the latest episode of Doom Patrol. So let's get right to it. Um, First off, I want to apologize. I did not get to review last weekend's Doom Patrol episode, and that's because last week I was at South by Southwest lining up for the premiere of Us, Jordan Peele's new movie. So what happened in episode 4 kind of carries over to episode 5, and this is a two arc story, I guess you could say, um, focusing on Cult of the Unwritten Book. I, as I mentioned to you many times, I did not grow up reading Doom Patrol comic books, so I had to research a little bit. And the Cult of the Unwritten Book, the way the show depicts it, more or less is pretty faithful to the original material, at least from what I read. Willoughby Kipling shows up. I have some thoughts about him as well. So basically, these two arc episode deals with the D creator and the kid that has I guess you could say writings or inscriptions tattooed onto his body, and then we see Nernheim, which is this place that's stuck in this this snow globe that Cliff Steele, Robot Man, and Jane find themselves in. And in this episode 5, it's pretty much the continuation of that, but with a little twist turn of events, if you will, in that Mr. Nobody returns. Um, Chief Niles Cauldron on I guess you could say on borrowed time, on loan, and in his return he actually can stand and walk around, so he's not like Professor X in a wheelchair anymore. And their goal in episode 5, this one, is to find the recreator, and the writings are hidden on the dog. And then in this episode, we also get to see the flashback of Jane and how the because she has 64 characters, how one of her characters, Dr. Harrison, came to be. We see the mental asylum. As you all know, I'm a big fan of mental asylum type stories. Um, and in the 70s, we see the creation of this cult. Um, and it goes to show how stupid cult and how ridiculous religions can be, because it's pretty much a bunch of people like, oh, how about we do this, oh, how about we hide the secrets in a dog, or have the tattoos onto a dog, whatever, oh what if we create an anti decreator, or what if we to uh, uh, set up a ritual where we do this every year annually. Well, so it pokes fun at religions and cults, and I get it. I totally get why they deserve to be made fun of. Um, because most of the time it's created by the concept, and the whole process, procedures, and rituals are man-made. The ideas of it. So okay, let's go through. I want to dissect this real quick. First off, because I know I didn't get to review last week's episode. Willoughby Kipling, not Clipping, Kipling. He is supposedly, from what I read, I guess Vertigo's answer to Constantine, because John Constantine, the occult expert, is not allowed to be used in Doom Patrol property. At least that's to my understanding. It says here Willoughby Kipling was originally intended to be Vertigo Comics' John Constantine, but at the time, DC Comics editorial policy forbid Constantine's use outside of the Vertigo continuity, so Kipling was created as a substitute. And in this show, Kipling is played by by one of the most familiar character actors around, and that is actor Mark Shepard. You may recognize him from um, shows like Supernatural or Leverage. Now, I'm sure Mark Shepard is a nice fellow in person, but I'm always not excited whenever he shows up because he more than often he plays a shifty, shady character with a hidden agenda, you know, and he sometimes goes against the key lead characters that whatever show, whatever story it is, and then he'll go up against them. He'll be like, no, and you got to do it my way. And so more than often, Mark Shepard finds himself typecast into that kind of role. So, and that's why oh, Mark Shepard shows up. Oh man, we're gonna have a day with his character, and it's gonna be another guy who just I don't know thinks who he'll condescend, he'll belittle the people around him, and he thinks he thinks he's got it all figured out. Um, well, Willoughby Kipling more or less kind of like that, but definitely a lot like John Constantine. um, which is funny because Mark Shepard was on the show Supernatural, which is about magic and occult. Um, I think that these two arc episodes are more or less also a filler episode, I guess you could say. Two filler episodes. Um, because it takes us away from Dr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody, I'm sorry, Mr. Nobody. Mr. Nobody shows up in this episode mainly sort of just to somewhat narrate and to explain the story to you guys, because if you are like me and you did not grow up reading Doom Patrol, if you did not grow up reading Doom Patrol comic books, um then yeah, much of what happens in these two episodes will be like, whoa, what, where are they now? How come I thought they were trying to find Chief? So um Mr. Nobody shows up just to like kind of guide you or hold your hand across the street, sort of a deal. And it's fun. It's fun. Alan Tudyk. Anytime I see him eh, on the screen, it's always a blast. And as you know, Alan Tudyk is also Disney's Lucky Charm, which, by the way, every time Mr. Nobody speaks, it reminds me because the sound of the voice is a lot like Alan Tudyk's voice in the movie Wreck-It Ralph when he plays that villain, the one that the king of the sugar candy world, whatever you call it. Um, so Alan Tudyk can alter his voice and has done lots of different other voices in other projects. But for this one, for Mr. Nobody, I think he uses the voice for that same villain in Wreck-It Ralph film, the first Wreck-It Ralph. So, and then he's gonna voice Iago, I think, in the upcoming Disney live action Aladdin movie. So it's always fun seeing Alan Tudyk back, even for just a few minutes in this episode. It's cool. Now, a big chunk of this episode is dedicated to Jane and Dr. Harrison, Jane's other alter ego. Um, I think the way that Jane and Robot Man escape Nurnheim or the Snow Globe it's too convenient. That grandma with the tank comes in and just blows the place up. It's like, okay, and you see Crazy Jane and Robot Man kind of sneak from around those creatures in Nurnheim's like, yeah, I guess I was expecting more of a fight. So a little disappointed that we didn't get that. Um, with regards to Rita and Elliot, I'm not sure why. I mean, like, I get the whole thing, Crazy Jane and Robot Man, because Robot Man kind of views maybe without realizing it, views Jane as a representation of his daughter because he misses his daughter. You know, at one point in Nurnheim, they even messes with Robot Man and Crazy Jane's heads, which is interesting to me because in previous episode it was Mister Nobody that messed with Rita, Larry, and Cyborg's heads. Do you remember that episode where they get sucked into to the donkey, and then you see Mister Nobody messes with kind of like showing Rita and Cyborg and Larry, what could have been or their past, and oh, it's your fault, that these people around you died. Um, so Nernheim kind of did that similar thing to Robot Man and Crazy Jane in previous episodes. Like, oh, you're just a brain in this clunky, metal thing. And then you see little Crazy Jane, very, very scared, but so Nernheim messes with their heads the way that Mr. Nobody messed with Cyborg, Rita, and Larry. That's interesting. And that leads to my point, actually, because we have gone through 5 episodes now, and holy crap, m- much of it, much of those episodes is about introspective, looking inward, or like Larry's like wrestling with that thing inside him, Crazy Jane with his many personalities, Robot Man dealing with his regrets, like, oh my god, I should have been a better father, a better husband. Now I can't even see my daughter. So, and Rita, of course, with her like thing, not only about her missing the glory days of the golden age of Hollywood, but also she wrestles with like, hey, we're not heroes. What are we doing? Until this episode when she encounters Elliot, and I'm speculating because maybe I'm wrong about this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. But the way that Robot Man views Jane like his daughter, maybe Rita views Elliot as a son figure, or maybe that's the way for Rita to finally embracing that, hey, maybe I can be more than just Rita Farr, this blob, that I can be this so-called hero and help Elliot at least. So that's probably the way for her to get to that point, through Elliot. So that's cool. Introspection, introspective again in this episode. Cyborg again, like, oh my god, with my arm and my machine, and I'm dealing with my dad. I don't want to answer his call. So after 5 episodes of introspections, which I don't mind, but now it gets me wondering, like, how many more episodes of looking inward and wrestling with your demons and reflective moments. How many more of that do we have to go through as audiences in the season one? Like, when are they gonna finally team up and go against Mr. Nobody? I think the writers are not making it easy for us. So it is definitely playing with my patience. I don't know if it plays with your patience, but it's definitely testing it right now. Um, what else do? Oh, the D creator finally meets Recreator, and they have a staring contest that cracks me up. But real quick note on the D creator, because the D creator in the comic books, as I read it again, I researched it earlier. I didn't read the comic books, but he causes things to disappear. Right? He erases things from existence. That's what the D creator does, and Recreator brings them back to fold, recreates them again, and that the whole thing, that whole bit with the characters dusting away, fading away. What does that remind you of? That reminds you of Avengers Infinity War. I guess the only thing that you know the remaining members of the Avengers in Avengers Endgame that's coming up, maybe all they gotta do is just hop on over to DC Vertigo and find Recreator, and then bring the whole people, half of the universe back. So I know I'm joking, of course, but that does remind me of Avengers Infinity War, when the people in the Cloverton, even the bus starts fading away, starts dusting away like freaking. Uh, yeah, so um, maybe that's the solution for Avengers Endgame. Find a recreator. Um, that's fine. That's totally fine. We got through an arc of the cult of the unwritten book, and it's interesting. It's weird. It's occasionally wacky and out of character sometimes, especially with Jane. But then again, Jane has 64 characters. At the end of this episode, we see Dr. Harrison leave off with Chief Niles. Um, my point is that the writers of the show are not making it easy for us, the audience, not only in terms of when is the team gonna be a team, but also not making it easy for us, the audience, who did not read the comic books and are like trying to follow, trying to track where the story is going. It's like, okay, where is this leading us now? I have so many questions, so many unanswered questions, and we still have a few more episodes before the season ends. But if you do know, if you have read the comic books and you happen to hold the secret, let the rest of us in on it, and share your thoughts in the comment section below. Overall, I wouldn't say that these two arc episodes are weak, but I must say that they're not my favorites. I'm not really big fan of filler episodes of any kind, one arc or two arc. I just want us to get back on the track again, and I want to see a collision or a clash between Doom Patrol and Mr. Nobody. And I'm glad that by the end of this episode, as you could see, Mr. Crazy Jane asks, like, who the fuck is Doom Patrol? So maybe that's a good indicator. Now that's like, okay, now that she said that, right? Who the fuck is Doom Patrol? We're gonna go back on track again and be about and be and have the show be about Doom Patrol again. So that's it. Though that's my long rant and my spiel review of Doom Patrol season 1 episode 5, titled Paw Patrol. Thanks to that freaking dog. Uh, and share your thoughts in the comment section below as always. And subscribe. Press that like button, ring that bell, and help my channel, please, at patreon.com/ramascreen. I'll be back, not live streaming, but I'll be back posting a couple of more reviews today. I have like I'm preparing at least 3, right? The Highwayman, um, The Art of Self-Defense, and Good Boys. Those are 3 movies that I screened at South by Southwest this past week, and I need to post those videos for you guys, and hopefully I get to post them later today. So I'll be busy today. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's wrap this.